Have you ever felt an unseen pair of eyes watching you, even when you're alone? This eerie sensation of being watched is not uncommon. It's a fear that lurks in the back of our minds, a paranoia that our every move, our every word is being observed and recorded. Now let's take this concept a step further. What if these unseen watchers aren't just figments of our imagination? What if they're real? This is where the black helicopters theory comes into play. Imagine for a moment the sky, our eternal symbol of freedom and infinity, now serving as a stage for a shadowy spectacle. Here, silhouettes of black helicopters like dark knights of a modern saga patrol this boundary between the known and the unknown. No markings, no identifiable features, just a mysterious presence that feeds our fear of the unseen watcher. They're not just aircraft, they're symbolic agents, embodiments of this deep-seated fear. Their presence in the sky, whether real or imagined, only fuels our anxiety. We wonder, who are they? What do they want? Why are they watching? These questions remain unanswered, leaving us in a state of unease. The black helicopters serve as a constant reminder of these unseen forces at play. They symbolize the threat to our personal sanctuary, our privacy. The mere idea of their existence challenges our sense of sovereignty, making us question whether we are ever truly alone. But let's pause for a moment. Flip the coin. What if these helicopters are not invisible watchers, but visible reminders? What if their presence is not a threat, but a promise of protection? After all, knowledge is power. The more we know about them, the less we fear them. In our technologically advanced world, is it so far-fetched to believe that we are under constant surveillance? Or perhaps the real question is, are we ready to face the reality of our fears? The answer lies in the shadows of the black helicopters theory. Black helicopters, unmarked, silent, and always watching. What are they, and what do they represent? Imagine gazing up at a limitless sky only to have your tranquility disturbed by a shadowy silhouetted figure, a black helicopter silently hovering above. These enigmatic choppers, unmarked and eerily quiet, are the embodiment of an insidious theory, a theory that suggests we are constantly under surveillance, our every move watched by unseen eyes. This is the black helicopters theory, a narrative that has been woven into the fabric of conspiracy theories since the late 20th century. It's a saga that has been whispered about in hushed tones, discussed in secret forums, and spread through the tendrils of the internet. A theory that suggests that these black helicopters are not just vehicles, but tools of clandestine surveillance, used by unknown entities to spy on unsuspecting civilians. Now you might ask, where did this theory originate? Well, it's hard to pinpoint an exact source. Some say it's a product of the Cold War paranoia, others believe it's a manifestation of our collective fear of Big Brother watching over us. Regardless of its roots, this theory has grown, feeding on our inherent fear of the unknown, our anxiety about being watched. The black helicopters are seen as agents in this covert saga, agents that bridge the gap between the known and the unknown. They represent an omnipresent force, a silent watcher in the sky, every whisper, every secret, every moment of solitude potentially under their scrutiny. They serve as a constant reminder of the unseen forces at play, a symbol of a world where privacy may be nothing more than an illusion. So, are these helicopters real or just figments of our collective paranoia? Are we truly under constant surveillance, or is it merely our fears projected onto the canvas of the sky? The answers may not be clear, but one thing is certain. The black helicopters are not just vehicles. They are symbols of unseen watchers, agents of a covert saga. How does the presence of these black helicopters threaten our personal sovereignty? In the grand tapestry of our lives, we hold our personal sovereignty dear. It's the assurance that the thoughts in our minds, the words we whisper to the wind, and the solitude we seek in our sacred spaces are ours and ours alone. But what happens when that sovereignty is challenged? When the unseen eyes in the sky, embodied by the black helicopters, pierce through our privacy and infiltrate our personal freedom? The fear of being watched, of being constantly under surveillance, can be a heavy shroud that stifles our freedom. It's a fear that seeps into our lives, coloring our perception, influencing our actions and shaping our thoughts. It's a fear that can make us question the sanctity of our personal space and the freedom we believe we possess. The black helicopters, these agents of a covert saga, serve as a constant reminder of this fear. Their omnipresence in our skies, their silent watchfulness, their ominous shadows all serve to keep this fear alive and palpable. They are the physical manifestation of our fear, the embodiment of the unseen watches, the tangible proof of the invasion of our personal space. This fear, this constant feeling of being watched, poses a serious threat to our personal sovereignty. It shakes the foundation of our privacy. It undermines our trust in our freedom, and it challenges the sanctity of our personal space. It makes us question whether our thoughts are truly our own, whether our solitude is truly solitary, and whether our personal space is truly personal. This fear, symbolized by the black helicopters, can make us feel as though we are living in a world where our personal sovereignty is constantly under siege. It can make us feel as though we are living in a world where the sky is no longer a symbol of freedom and infinity, but a stage for a shadow play where every secret whispered to the clouds is heard and every moment of solitude is under the threat of intrusion. The fear of constant surveillance, symbolized by the black helicopters, shakes the very foundation of our personal sovereignty. But what happens when we remove the fear and the black helicopters? Let's envision the negation of the black helicopters theory. Imagine a world where the fear of unseen watches dissipates, where the enigmatic black helicopters are no longer shadows in our skies. What happens then? In this scenario, we're not just removing black helicopters from the equation, but we're also eliminating the fear associated with them. The fear of being watched, the fear of the unknown, the fear of intrusion into our personal space. All these fears dissipate into thin air. The absence of fear, or A, is intrinsically linked to B, the understanding and visibility of these forces. When there is no fear of being watched, the significance of the black helicopters diminishes. They are no longer the sinister figures of our imaginations, but simply helicopters. The unknown becomes known, and the unseen becomes seen. This newfound understanding, B, leads us to C, the assurance of personal sovereignty. When these helicopters are understood, the fear of intrusion into our personal space diminishes. We no longer feel our personal sovereignty is threatened. We regain our peace, our privacy, our freedom. In this negated state, we find equilibrium. The absence of fear is linked to the assurance of personal sovereignty. Without the fear of unseen watchers, our sense of personal sovereignty is strengthened. We reclaim the sky, once again a symbol of freedom and infinity, no longer a stage for a shadow play. So, when we remove the fear and the black helicopters, we're not just negating a theory. We're reclaiming our peace, our trust, and our personal sovereignty. We're transforming the unknown into the known, the unseen into the seen. We're turning fear into understanding. In the absence of fear and the understanding of these forces, we regain our personal sovereignty. We move from a world of shadows and uncertainties into the clear light of day. And in this light, there's no room for black helicopters. As we draw to a close, let's sum up the black helicopters theory. We've journeyed through a world where unseen eyes lurk in the sky, where the boundaries between the known and the unknown blur, and where personal sovereignty is under constant threat. At the heart of this theory lies the fear of unseen watchers. It's not just about being watched. It's the unnerving thought that the watchers are unseen, omnipresent, and potentially all-knowing. This fear is amplified by the mysterious agents of a covert saga, the black helicopters. These dark silhouettes hovering in the sky serve as a constant reminder of the unseen forces at play, making the air we breathe thick with suspicion. But it doesn't stop there. The presence of these watchers and the black helicopters leads to the threat to personal sovereignty, the feeling that our sanctuary is invaded, that our privacy is undermined, that our freedom is at stake. This is the chilling consequence of living under the shadow of these enigmatic helicopters. The black helicopters theory, however, isn't just about creating fear. It also highlights the possibility of an equilibrium, a state of peace and trust. This equilibrium would be achieved when fear is absent, when these forces are understood and made visible, and when personal sovereignty is assured. This suggests that the fear and threat we feel might be more about our perception and less about the actual presence of these black helicopters. So, what does this all mean? Well, the black helicopters theory is more than just a conspiracy about helicopters or surveillance. It's a reflection of our fears, our desire for freedom, and our perception of the world. It's about the shadows we see, the shadows we don't, and the shadows we create in our minds. Remember, the black helicopters theory is not just about helicopters or surveillance. It's about our fears, our freedom, and how we perceive the world around us.